I want to take you back to 11,000 years ago when the Ice Age had finally come to an end and human civilization was just getting started. Around this time, the first cities were built, small towns by today's standards, but back then, there were population centers no one had ever seen before: Jericho, Damascus, and Byblos. Soon after, major complex civilizations were born, mostly around river systems, such as the Nile in Egypt, the Indus in Pakistan and India, the Yellow and Yangtze rivers in China, and the coastal areas west of the Andes Mountains in South America. However, the first and most important early civilization of all started in what is today modern-day Iraq, along the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Here, the world's first civilization began, the Sumerians. They invented writing and math, but were eventually conquered by their neighbors to the north, the Akkadians. They were the world's first empire, but they collapsed due to an invasion and possible drought. Succeeding them were the Babylonians, a cultural center that focused heavily on learning. But they too were conquered by foreign powers, the most prominent being the Assyrians, the world's first true superpower. At first, the Assyrians were subjugated by other foreign powers, but as time went on and these powers started to decline, the Assyrians slowly expanded their borders. Eventually though, thanks to the Bronze Age collapse, the Assyrians started to decline as well. But in the late 900s BC, the Assyrian kings started to retake control of the region. They would go on to conquer or gain tribute over many lands and countries. The Phoenicians, Hittites, Babylonians, Israelites, Elamites, Cyprus, Northern Arabia, Egypt, and more. An empire of this size was impressive to say the least for this time period. Never before had such a powerful nation existed. There not really being a whole lot of other powerful nations nearby, not under their control, it's no wonder why one of the titles of the Assyrian king was King of the Universe. In 669 BC, a new king would come to the Assyrian throne, Ashurbanipal. He saw the empire to its greatest extent, but was brutal. Extremely brutal. Some even compare him and the Assyrians to the Nazis, which isn't exactly an unfair comparison. The Assyrians killed, enslaved, and deported a lot, and I mean a lot of people. Ashurbanipal's killings though were so extreme and numerous that they basically count as genocide. Ever wonder what happened to the 10 tribes of Israel that were lost? Oh, the Assyrians, alright. Oh yeah, and he even commissioned his own fan art of pregnant Arab women getting ripped apart on his tomb, so yeah, he wasn't a good guy.
Alright, sons, it's pop quiz time.
Yes, Father.
Yes, Father.
Okay, first, which one of you can tell me what to do when a province rebels?
I know, Father.
Okay, what is it, Asher?
You kill everyone.
Very good, son. Now it's your turn, Sinshar.
Yes, Father.
What do you do when a city refuses to surrender?
You burn it to the ground.
Very good, my sons. I'm so proud of you both.
Here's the tablets you asked for, your majesty.
Ah, thank you. Wait, where the reeds?
You didn't ask for that, king.
Yes, well, I didn't think you were dense enough to not be able to figure that out. Now, let's see how dense you really are.
What?
And that's how you run a kingdom, boys. You're taking notes.
In 631 BC, Ashurbanipal finally died and was succeeded by his son, Ashur-etilani, until he only died a few years later. After that, the throne passed to his second eldest son, Sinshar-ishkun, and pretty much as soon as he became king, a eunuch named Sin-shumalisher rebelled, attempting to take the throne for himself. He managed to capture a few cities in Babylonia, but was only defeated in a few months. But the location of this conflict had an interesting side effect on it. After centuries of Assyrian rule, the Babylonian people were finally given a glimpse of hope that it was possible to fight back against the Assyrians. Uruk was the first city to free itself from the Assyrians, and put in charge of them was a politician named Nabopolassar. He and his army marched and took the cities of Nippur and even Babylon itself, which was a huge victory. Soon after, in 626 BC, Nabopolassar was made king of Babylon, meaning for the first time in almost 1,000 years, the Babylonians were finally free and independent once again.
King, I bring news.
What is it? Oh, has the army finally defeated those fools?
No, sir. He defeated our armies and proclaimed himself as king of Babylon.
What? Can you idiots do anything right on your own? I guess I'm gonna have to do this myself. Come on, let's go.
Yes, sir. With Sin-shar-ishkun back in charge, the Assyrians started to crush the Babylonians like they had done many times in the past. Many cities were taken back, and it looked like Nabopolassar's victories were just flukes. The Assyrians came very close to victory, but then all of a sudden, a mysterious Assyrian tried to take the throne for himself. Oh, King, I have good news!
Really?
Yes, King, we just took Sapar and crushed those Babylonian traitors!
Yes, I can't wait to get my hands on that trail. He's gonna wish he was never born.
Yes, we're so close to winning, King!
Yeah.
King, I have bad news.
Why, that'll be important. Fool, didn't you hear the good news? We almost won.
Yeah, but...
And I'm trying to relax, so unless it's important, just leave me alone.
some guy in his army just stole your throne in the capital.
What?
Because of this unknown usurper, Sin-shar-ishkun had to leave Babylon for the time being to put the coup down. But in the meantime, Nabopolassar took advantage of this and finally liberated the entire nation of Babylonia from the Assyrians. However, what disturbed the Assyrians even more was Nabopolassar's forces crossing the border into Assyria itself and actually winning on their own soil. This was bad news for Sin-shar-ishkun, but he quickly marched down and pushed the Babylonians out of Assyria. Now at this point, the Assyrians might have been humiliated, but they're still pretty dangerous, and there's a chance that the Assyrians could have marched south and taken Babylonia once again, if it wasn't for their neighbors to the east. A man known as Cyrus had recently brought together the various Median tribes of the area and formed a brand new Median empire. Like everyone else in the Middle East, they hated the Assyrians, so when they saw the Babylonians rebel, they were all for it. But after seeing how good the Babylonians were doing against the Assyrians, they decided to join in for real this time. In 614 BCE, Cyrus and his army invaded Assyria, taking Ashur, one of the most important cities to Assyrian culture. They looted the city, killed almost everyone who lived there, and destroyed it. Following that, the Babylonians launched their attack from the south, and Nabopolassar met with Cyrus after the battle to form a proper alliance. The Persians joined the alliance soon after, as did various nomadic peoples, the Sumerians and the Scythians, looking for payback. King!
What is it, you fool?
It's the Medes! They're attacking!
What? Send army up there at once!
So I have bad news.
What now?
It's the Persians that declare war on us.
What?
King, the Scythians have declared war on us!
What?
My lord, the Sumerians have declared war on us!
Sure, the Chaldeans have declared war on us.
Sir, the Medes took us, sir!
Hold it, everyone shut up, all of you. Okay, good. Now, does anyone have any ideas? We're in big trouble here.
Oh, I know.
Yes?
We could surrender.
Fool, that's brilliant. You're a genius.
Oh, really? Thank you, King.
In fact, I'm going to make you second in command.
Really?
Of course, you can do one more little thing for me.
Ooh, well, Liz, I'll do it.
Okay, see that window over there?
Yes.
I want to tell you, how high are we up?
Okay. It's too far down, King. I can't tell from up here.
Really? Let me help you.
Okay.
Much better. Now, does anyone else have an idea? Now, you, Phil, what do you think we should do?
I don't know.
Run, Ansel. You, Phil, give me an idea and the bill will be good.
You see?
Yes?
Well, your vassal, the Pharaoh of Egypt, we could get, his army to join forces with yours?
That's an excellent idea.
Thank you, your majesty.
Now hold out your hand.
Okay. Wow, and you wonder why no one likes you.
It's good to be king. Come Come on, man, let's go see the Pharaoh. Hello, Pharaoh.
Oh, what brings you, O King of the Universe?
Well, everyone has risen up against me.
Well, that definitely is a pickle, and it definitely sucks to be you.
Aren't you going to help me, you fool?
Why should I? You've never done anything for me before.
Think you moron, once they get me, they'll come after you next.
What? Really?
Yes, you fool, come on, we have no time to waste.
Alright, mobilize the army. We need to make haste at once.
Despite this new alliance, the two are no match for the Allies, and they continued to march on Assyrian soil. The fight went on for 2 years, until the Allies reached the Assyrian capital. What followed was quite possibly the bloodiest battle in human history up to this point. A battle that will change the course of history forever. A battle as significant as D-Day, Gettysburg, Verdun, and Stalingrad. The Battle of Nineveh. The Assyrians were besieged for over 2 months by the Babylonians, the Persians, the Medes, the Scythians, and Cimmerians. It goes without saying that the Assyrians were pretty much screwed. After 2 months of siege, Nineveh finally fell. Shin-Shar-Ishkun was killed in battle, and the Allies looted, raped, and murdered their way through the city, burning it to the ground so completely that people forgot where the city was just a few generations later. So I guess in the end, Jonah got his wish after all. Just had to wait a few hundred years. Now at this point, you'd think that this is where the war is over and the story would end, but no. Sin-Shar-Ishkun's son, Ashurbanipal II, became the new king of Assyria. He moved the capital to Haran. He also formed a stronger alliance with his Egyptian ally, but at this point, there's no possible way that the Assyrians could have ever came back from this. Eventually, even Haran would fall, and the Egyptians sent one last army to team up with the remaining forces Ashur had. The Egyptians were delayed by the Judeans, led by King Josiah, because at this point, pretty much the entire Middle East wanted the Assyrians gone forever. He was killed in battle, and when the Egyptians met up with Ashur's forces, they tried to retake Haran, but failed miserably. They were pushed back to Carchemish. Here, one last final battle took place, with Nabopolassar's son leading the Babylonian army. He's someone you might have heard of, someone who totally wouldn't become a conquest-hungry tyrant himself. His name was Nebuchadnezzar II. The battle ended in a total Allied victory, finally bringing the end of Egypt as a significant power, and the complete existence of the Assyrian Empire. After the war, the former lands of the Old Empire were split between the Babylonians and Medes, both of which would be conquered by the Persians not long after. It's unknown how many people died in the conflict, but it was most likely a horrific amount for the time. It really was a world war thousands of years before the world wars. The Assyrian people still exist today in modern Syria, Iraq, and Turkey. And according to Wikipedia, as many as 600,000 Americans have some amount of Assyrian ancestry, which is cool. The tale of the Assyrians has once been repeated countless times throughout history. A great empire, no matter how large or powerful it is, can't fight the whole world at once. Whether it be the Germans, the French, or even Paraguay. Any empire can fall if it makes too many enemies.